Hello friends, and welcome to a casual little reading vlog. I know I've been playing around with what I've been putting out to you in terms of the content, so I thought I'd reward your patience and you humouring me with a reading vlog. A reading vlog, can you imagine that? A booktuber who reads? We're starting in the bedroom because I actually am going to get cozy and do some reading right now. Part of me wants to be very ambitious and tell you about a big plan, a big TBR, but we know that that hasn't really been very successful for me lately. What I do know is that I need to start reading again. Particularly, I need to start reading children's books. If you're new here, I'm a children's bookseller and I've been in a bit of a slump for the last couple of months, and I just feel like I'm getting a little bit behind. I still have plenty of books I can recommend, but it's always nice to have a handful of new releases under your belt, you know? So if this does turn into a multi-book reading vlog, that's kind of where we're heading. But for now, I really need to read this lovely little book. This is A Snake Falls to Earth by Darcy Little Badger, and this is my current Blossom Book Club book. And we actually have our live chat tomorrow, so I need to get to reading. I have been trying to read this. I'm up to page like 56. I don't know exactly which chapter this is. I think it's like 3 or 4. So I have been reading. It's just that I've only been reading like a chapter every other day, and I clearly need to pick up the pace. And so far we've heard from Nina, who is a Lipan, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, I'll have to look it up, girl. And we're learning a little bit about her family, and in particular the stories of her great-great-grandmother, or was it great-great-great-grandmother? I don't know, she's very old, and Nina says that she's over 150 years old, although her teacher doesn't believe her. When we first meet Nina, she's 9 years old, but then we quickly jump to her being 13. And through Nina and her grandmother, we're kind of vaguely getting introduced to the idea of animal people, like animals who can transform into humans. The second perspective is Ollie, who is a cottonmouth kid. So he is one of these animal people. His true form is a cottonmouth snake. His human form is like a 15-year-old boy. And it seems like from the blurb at some point, these two different perspectives, these two different characters, and these two different worlds are going to converge. I have no idea yet how. I have no idea what this story is going to look like. I really don't know a lot about this book. What I do know is that I need to hurry up and read it because my live show for the book club is tomorrow morning. So it's an ambitious goal, but a goal nonetheless, and I'm gonna hopefully do my best to get there. Today is actually a very cloudy, kind of drizzly, quite cool day, and we do need to take Ollie for a walk, but she doesn't like the wet. She usually gets quite grumpy when we take her out for a walk when it's not perfectly dry. She doesn't like getting her little feet wet. And also tonight we are heading around to my parents. It was Blair's birthday a few days ago, so we're just like kind of getting together with my parents for a little mini family birthday party. So that is also happening. Basically, we're just going to spend a few days, maybe a week together, and I'm going to try and get quite a bit of reading done. I know I have made that promise before, so we're just going to see how this goes. So let's do some reading.
Sometimes when I try to reason, you don't seem to listen at all. I don't know if it's just a feeling, or if we are about to fall.
Good morning, friends. I'm here with little Ollie. I know you can't quite see her, but I needed to update you because we got home later than I was expecting from Mum and Dad's last night. So it was a little bit of a rush to finish Snake Falls to Earth this morning, but I did manage it. Can you believe it? I finished a book. Come on. I feel like I need a good old-fashioned round of applause. It's been a while since I finished a book. And this morning I did also have my Patreon live chat. It was just Thea who popped by, who also read this book. We got to have a good chat, a good catch up. It was lovely. Thank you, Thea. And we both really enjoyed this book. I think Thea might have enjoyed it a little bit more than I did. I liked it a lot, and I don't remember exactly what I told you about it yesterday. I feel like I didn't talk about it very much, but I think I did tell you about the two different perspectives, Ollie and Nina. And this book is just a beautiful exploration of, I suppose, like the spiritual impact that we as humans have on the environment. And in particular, this book explores the idea that like the spirit realm and earth used to be joined, used to be together, but they have since split, and now they're kind of mirrors of each other. So when something happens on earth, it affects the spiritual realm with the animal spirits. So things like extinction have a massive effect on the characters and the people and the creatures that we meet in the other realm, which ultimately is what brings our two worlds and our two characters together. Storytelling is a big part of this story, and in particular, it's a really important thing in Nina's life. She's received a story from her great-great-grandmother just before she passed away, and we follow Nina over many years in her life. I think it's about 7 years, as she's kind of trying to learn more about her family through this story, and she's trying to translate this story. And through that and a few other things, she develops a really strong, like, emotional connection with the story and the sort of things that are happening, and with the idea of these animal spirits. So while I feel like that is all the heart of the story, there are quite a few other kind of like side plots that are happening as well, and they do converge at the end. I think my only gripe with this story is that it did feel like maybe there were one or two too many side plots going on, which I did feel like sometimes did take away space and like weight from what I felt like were the core issues and the core elements of the book. And I would say one storyline in particular, I didn't really feel like paid off in any way that I at least felt like justified its existence in the book, if that makes sense. Having said that, I did really enjoy this book. It was just lovely to read. Although I think that this is targeted more to like younger YA audiences, it does almost have like a bit of a middle grade feel to it. And I think that is because of the presence of these like animal people characters. But I think it's also because parts of this story, and in a way the story as a whole, does feel very Fable-esque. And while there definitely are stakes, and some of these stakes are quite high, overall, like, the characters are just so enjoyable to spend time with, and the world building is so lovely that it's just a really nice book to read. So I really enjoyed it. It was a nice change of pace from a lot of the stuff we normally read in my book club. And yeah, I'm happy that we read it. And it does make me curious about Alatsaway. I know a lot of people have really, really loved that book. I've never read it, and now I think I want to. So, seeing as this, I have decided, is going to be a reading vlog, we do have to pick another book. Now, I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to pick another book right now, but I do have a couple in mind. I have a few books that I have on my shelf. I think all of these are proofs or secondhand books. However, I last week did put on reservation, or approval we call it, a couple of books from work, some newer books. Basically at work, if we have a bunch of books in stock of a particular title, we are allowed to borrow them for a short period of time, as long as we bring them back in perfect condition, obviously. And so I picked up 3 books that I thought would be pretty quick reads, and these are more from the junior fiction area. The first is The Pinchers. I read the first kind of like little part of this where we get introduced to the characters. There's like little character profiles. Basically, it's a story about robbers. Each of the characters has a little motto. For example, Ellen Pincher, who appears to be maybe like the older sister, her motto is, "Why pay for things when stealing is fun and it's free?" Then I've also got Monty and Leo, a newcomer in Pocketville. Oh, it's so cute. What even is this? I don't know. I literally picked this up because of this cover. What if every day were just the same? That's what Monty Mole and the rest of Pocketville think they want. Until a stranger arrives. A stranger with new ideas who shakes up Monty's routine. Could Leo Lizard be just what Pocketville needs? A charming young graphic novel about embracing change and welcoming new friends. And the art just looks so adorable. And then we've got another graphic novel. This one is called Detective Beans and the Case of the Missing Hat by Lee Chen. And again, I don't know a lot about this, but it just looked adorable. You know I love a good graphic novel. So these are all 3 pretty recent new releases that I have borrowed from work. So I feel like we should probably prioritize these because I am going back to work tomorrow. So I should probably return them either tomorrow or Wednesday. I think that's about all for now. I'm going to go finish my cup of tea. We might go for a WALK, and then I might try and get some more reading done this afternoon.
views when I'm down here, don't you? I'm just talking to my friends, that's all. No, this isn't for you. You wouldn't like it anyway. No, you wouldn't. I'd let you smell tea bags and you always at me. No, not for you. Good morning, friends. It is a few days later. I had ambitions of still reading and filming on Tuesday and Wednesday, which are my work days at the moment, but that just never happens. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it just, regardless of my intentions, I feel like I can just kind of do one main thing a day. And beyond that, all bets are, yes, that's a very good high five. I did do a little bit of reading. Those 3 books, I didn't read one of them, the cat detective one. It looks really cute and I think I would like to try and get around to it again at another point, but I don't know, the colors were just so bright, they were kind of giving me a headache. But I did read the other 2 books. The Pinchers, it was funny, but it wasn't quite as funny as I think I was initially expecting it to be. Essentially, the premise is it's this family of robbers who are always getting up to trouble, and their youngest son can't lie. Like, it is funny, but I don't know, it just didn't like hit me in the giggle bone as much as I was hoping. The other book though, what was it called? Monty? I did have to take them back to work yesterday, so I don't have them with me anymore. Yes, Monty and Leo, a newcomer in Pocketville. This was perfection. I loved this. The art was just gorgeous. I wish I had the book here still so that I could show you a little bit more, but it's just charming. Charming is the best word I have for it. That kind of really simple, almost minimalistic, but still so cute. And Pocketville is just the kind of place where nothing really changes. And so we're introduced to Monty the Mole, who every morning he follows the same routine, which includes like getting up and going to the bakery and buying the same thing every day and then going to sit on this particular rock by the river. One day though, when he's going about his routine and he like goes to the bakery and everyone's whispering about this newcomer who asked for something weird called sliced bread, and then he shows up to his rock to find somebody else sitting on it. And this is, of course, Leo the lizard. And so at first, Monty is very taken aback and he's really not happy about this. But when Leo invites him to join him on this beautiful rock, Monty starts to realize that actually Leo's really cool. They have a lot in common and maybe they could be best friends. So in my mind, this little book is just one of those sweet, simple pleasures of life. It was just perfection, which means we, my friends, have now read 3 books. 3 books in 1 week? Look at me go. But anyway, I was at work yesterday, as I mentioned, and I did pick up a few things. The first one, which is just the proof that I spotted in the office upstairs, is called The Promise. Isn't this cover pretty? We do have this in stock currently. I think it's about a boy who basically makes a promise that when he grows up, he's going to like make the world better. And it's got a few of these like really beautiful, just black and white illustrations. The 2 books that I picked up just on reservation are both graphic novels that I've been wanting to read. The first is Thieves by Lucy Bryan, and I think this is like a sapphic graphic novel. And then another graphic novel that I've honestly almost bought so many times is The Seance Tea Party. I mean, come on, just look at this cover. It's beautiful. And I think this is more a middle grade coming of age kind of story, but the art just looks beautiful. I have to remember to drink my tea, otherwise it'll go cold. Hey, I always forget, don't I, Ollie? Okay, now the 2 books that I purchased myself with my staff discount, but I still bought. The first one is Avast. This is a new anthology, pirate stories from transgender authors. I don't know, I just think this will be fun, and I was talking to my friend Thea about it, and it just sounds like such a cool project. And then a book that we got in and I was immediately interested in is called Women and Girls on the Autism Spectrum. And obviously in the last year, since kind of like right when I started thinking about maybe could I possibly be autistic, to all the way to getting diagnosed recently, I went down a rabbit hole and I've read like 17 books on autism. And while I'm not loving every single one of these books that I've been reading, I am finding like overall the journey of reading them really helpful. And actually I was thinking at some point that it might be a good thing to like put together a video where I talk about the books that I've read. There's a dog barking nearby and it's very distracting. Obviously I have been looking for books kind of like this that are talking about more like women's experiences, girls' experiences, people who are socialized as girls growing up, and especially like women getting diagnosed later in life as adults, because that's my experience. So like it would be a very specific kind of book talk video, but if you would be interested in a video like that, please let me know, because yeah, like I think it would be a little bit sensitive for me to make. I might find it a little bit difficult, but I don't know, I kind of feel like it might be useful to people. So if you think it would be, let me know. Anyway, it is actually quite late. I had a bit of a lie-in this morning. I didn't sleep in, but I just stayed in bed scrolling, chilling, cuddling Ollie. But I do have a few things that I would love to get done today. I mean, I do have an appointment later tonight with a physio regarding my hand stuff. Obviously, I would like to do some more reading, and I was thinking we could maybe try to read those 2 graphic novels that I picked up. But Ollie and I will be seeing you later. Can I have a high five? High five for a good day? Careful. Hello, it's a few days later, and yes, I have chopped off all of my hair, and I was really keen to get like a proper pixie cut, but I let Blair talk me out of it at the last minute, and so I just got a very, very, very short bob instead. And I kind of wish I had have just gone the full hog and got it all very, very short. And I don't know about you, but I feel like whenever I get a brand new haircut, it takes me a little while to like figure out how I like to wear it. So this is just what it's doing today. But anyway, it's been a couple of days since I checked in with you. Obviously, I did this. Today, I took Blair to the dentist, and while he was like getting fillings and stuff, I went into Savers. Now, we all know that I have had a great time secondhand and thrift shopping lately. So I wasn't expecting to buy a lot. I kind of felt like my luck was probably going to be running out. The thrift gods would not be blessing me today. But my luck runneth over, and I scored some absolutely incredible things. So I fear we may be in for another thrift haul in the near future. And then finally, of course, I did also actually do some reading. I read both of our graphic novels. Now, the first one is Thieves by Lucy Bryan, and this is a sapphic kind of young adult love story where our main characters like to steal stuff. The art was absolutely my favorite part of this. I just couldn't get over like how much personality there is in this art. And there were definitely elements of it that I thought were cute, but I like overall this story didn't do a huge amount for me. So like I liked it. I'm glad that I read it. I don't know that this is necessarily one that I will remember long term, but that's okay. One that I absolutely will remember forever. And in fact, I don't think I'm returning this. I think I'm gonna just like pay the cost and like be able to keep this incredible, incredible special little book. Honestly, it took me a little while to get into this. I probably was just kind of like vaguely enjoying it until about the halfway mark when I fell head over heels in love. Basically, this is a coming of age story for people who are scared to come of age, kids who are scared to grow up. And I identified with so much of that like 12-year-old experience, especially like as I first went into high school, just kind of like still feeling so much a kid and not really feeling ready to like dive into the teenage world yet. But everybody else kind of is and seems more comfortable in that world. Anyway, that is our main character's experience. She's just really struggling with the idea of growing up, and she doesn't feel ready. And right at this moment where she's really struggling and feeling isolated in this kind of strange coming of age moment, her imaginary friend from childhood reappears. But it turns out that this imaginary friend is not an imaginary friend per se. She's actually a ghost. And so we watch as Alexa, this ghost, kind of helps our main character out, kind of encourages her to get involved with social stuff and just like push her out of her comfort zone a little bit. And we see that as she does that slowly and steadily, she starts to grow into being a teenager. But while all of that is happening, Alexa, our ghost friend, is starting to learn more about her past and like how she died, when she died, and coming to terms with the fact that she, in contrast, will never grow up, will never come of age. And so we basically see quite literally through her eyes how much of a privilege all of these struggles are in so many ways. So there's just no way that I can return this tomorrow. So I will be purchasing this book because I want it in my life. I just loved it. So between those 2 graphic novels, The Snake Falls to Her Earth, and then the 2 little junior fiction books, I read 5 books this week. Are you kidding me? I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so good about that. And actually, while we're here, I did just want to say thanks so much for being here and just kind of like letting me play around with my content at the moment. I know the last couple of weeks in particular have definitely been just like a little bit outside of what I would normally make, but I did really like making those videos and I would like to make them from time to time. I have a couple of others that I have in mind that I'd like to make, and I think kind of playing around with different kinds of content and not always just kind of being solidly very much like deep in one niche would just be a lot easier for me in terms of like maintaining consistency with my video output. But with the way that the YouTube algorithm works, like it doesn't like that kind of thing. And you know, I learned that the hard way with my last channel. Like sometimes I do regret kind of like leaving that space because that still feels like my internet home, and
even though I've tried to make this one, like there's something about it that just doesn't feel the same. And part of me still, years later, does just kind of miss that space. But obviously I left and I created this channel because I didn't want to keep making tarot content anymore. And that channel was so in that niche that trying to do anything else, it just kind of felt like I was like sabotaging that channel in a weird way. Anyway, what am I saying? I suppose my point is that I know from lived experience, like having gone through this before with another channel, that trying out different kinds of content on a channel and introducing different kinds of content on a channel is not a good choice. And yet I kind of feel like if I left that channel that was doing really well, that had nearly 30,000 subscribers in quite a small niche, like that is no small feat. I left that platform that I'd built over like 8 years to have a fresh start and to not feel boxed in. So I don't want to box myself in again, even if it means that this channel's never really gonna go anywhere. So I don't know exactly what I'm saying, but I suppose just like for those of you who did watch those videos and for those of you who did take the time to comment, I mean, it seems like those of you who were interested really enjoyed them. So just like, thanks for like allowing me to play around. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for the kind words. But anyway, I think that's about all. So I suppose we can wrap this up here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. A big thank you as always to my wonderful patrons over on Patreon, especially a big thank you to Olivia, Lynette Brown, and Marie. And I will see you again soon, hopefully next week. I mean, I have no idea what video I'm making next week, so it will be a surprise for both of us. Until then, so much love. Bye.